The court battle lasted 11 months. 11 months of sitting across from the people I once called family while they painted me as a greedy outsider. 11 months of watching Baba's face twist with anger every time my lawyer presented another document proving my financial contribution. I never raised my voice. I just sat there in simple white clothes, the same color I wore to Bilal's funeral, and let the truth speak. The day the judge read the verdict, the courtroom was packed. Baba and his sons were there, confident until the very last second. The judge looked straight at them and said the words I will remember till my last breath. The property was jointly acquired through the efforts of both husband and wife. The deceased's clear intention, supported by documentary evidence, leaves the house and its contents to his wife, Aisha Malik. The respondents are directed to vacate within 30 days and pay costs. The silence that followed was deafening. Baba's face went pale. His daughters-in-law looked like they had been slapped. For the first time, I saw fear in their eyes, the same fear they had put in mine the day of the funeral. I didn't gloat. I simply stood up, looked at Baba, and said softly, "Blood may be blood, Baba, but love and loyalty leave records. You taught me that." They moved out 2 weeks later. I walked back into my home alone, the neem tree still standing tall in the courtyard. I touched the walls, the tiles I had chosen, the kitchen where I had cooked for Bilal 1,000 times. The house felt heavy with memories, but it also felt like it was breathing again, breathing with me. I never remarried. I didn't need to. I turned the extra rooms into a small tuition center for girls who couldn't afford education. Every evening when I hear their laughter, I feel Bilal smiling somewhere. Today, when people ask me how I survived, I tell them this: grief can destroy you, but betrayal can remake you if you let it. Never let anyone convince you that your love, your effort, or your tears were worthless just because you don't share their blood. The real family is the one you build with your heart and your hands. And sometimes the strongest revenge isn't shouting or fighting. It's simply refusing to disappear. I still light a candle for Bilal every Friday. But now, when I blow it out, I don't cry. I smile, because I kept the home we built. And more importantly, I kept myself. That, my dear ones, is the only revenge that ever truly heals.
The flowers on Bilal's coffin hadn't even begun to fade when my world broke for the second time. I stood in the courtyard of our Lahore home, the same courtyard where we had celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary with fairy lights and laughter just 2 months earlier. The afternoon sun was merciless, burning through my white dupatta, but I felt nothing. My eyes were dry now. There were no tears left. The last mourners had whispered their Allah aapko sabr de and slipped away. The scent of rose petals and sandalwood still clung to the air. I kept staring at the empty space where his body had been, willing him to walk back through the gate and tell me this was all a terrible dream. Then my father-in-law cleared his throat. He was standing under the neem tree, flanked by Bilal's 2 brothers and their wives. No tears on any of their faces, just cold, calculating eyes. Baba looked straight at me and said the words that would echo in my nightmares for years. "Aisha, beta, the property belongs to the family now. The house, the plot, everything. It was always in our name. You understand, don't you? Blood is blood." My knees almost gave way. I reached for the wall to steady myself. This was the house Bilal and I had chosen together, the house I had left my teaching job for so I could supervise every brick, every tile, the house whose down payment came from the gold my parents gave me on our wedding day, the gold I sold without a single complaint because I believed in us. And now, before my husband's funeral was even over, they were telling me I had no right to stand inside my own home? I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. "Baba, Bilal and I bought this together. I have the bank statements." He raised his hand, cutting me off like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "Papers mean nothing when the son is gone. You were his wife, not his owner. Now go inside and start packing. We'll help you find a small flat somewhere." His daughter-in-law smirked behind him. I saw it, that tiny, satisfied curl of her lip. And in that moment, something inside me shattered so completely I heard it, like glass breaking under my ribs. I had loved this family. I had fasted for them, cooked for them, forgiven every harsh word they ever threw at me. I had been the perfect Bahu, and they were throwing me out before my husband's grave was even filled. But what I didn't know that day was that their greed had only just begun. That night, I slept on the floor of our bedroom because they had already moved my things to the guest room, like I was a visitor who had overstayed. I kept touching the empty side of the bed where Bilal used to sleep, whispering his name like a prayer. The pain was so deep it felt physical, like someone had scooped out my heart and left a bleeding hole. The next morning, they changed the locks while I was at the graveyard. When I came back, my suitcase was waiting outside the gate like trash. My mother-in-law stood on the roof, watching. She didn't even have the courage to face me. I called Bilal's best friend, crying so hard I could barely speak. He came and took me to his sister's small apartment in Johar town. That's where I stayed for the next 3 months, broken, humiliated, surviving on the little savings I had hidden in my own name. Every night I replayed Baba's words, "Blood is blood," as if 10 years of love, sacrifice, and partnership meant nothing because I didn't carry their last name in my blood. I tried to be reasonable at first. I sent messages, offered to show every single document. I reminded them how Bilal always said this house was ours, mine and his. But they blocked me. Then the threats started. Legal notices claiming I had no legal standing. They even spread whispers in the family WhatsApp group that I had tricked Bilal into marriage for the property. Me, the girl who had given up everything for him. The loneliness was unbearable. I would sit on the tiny balcony at night, staring at the Lahore sky, remembering how Bilal used to hold my hand and say, "No matter what, this home is our little world, Aisha." Now that world had slammed its door in my face. But pain has a way of forging steel. Slowly, the tears stopped being only of grief. They became tears of rage, quiet, burning rage. I stopped begging. I started gathering papers. Every bank transfer with my name on it, every receipt from the renovation, every message Bilal had sent me saying, "Whatever is mine is yours, John." I found a young female lawyer who looked at me with fire in her eyes and said, "Baji, they think women like us stay quiet. Let's show them we don't." I discovered something else, too. In Bilal's old email account, something I had access to because he trusted me completely, was a draft will he had started writing 6 months before the accident. In it, he clearly left the house and his share of the business to me. He had even notarized the first page. He knew his family. He had seen the greed growing. He just never got the chance to finish it. When I told Baba about the will, he laughed on the phone. "Try it, Aisha. You'll spend every rupee you have and still lose. We are the family. You are nothing." That was the day I stopped crying for good. I looked at my reflection in the cracked mirror of that tiny apartment and whispered, "Enough."